welcome. Very recently, a former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, said it loud and clear that we must refrain from the habit of assuming that anyone calling for the restructuring of our federation is working for the breakup of the country. An excessively powerful center does not equate with national unity. If anything, it has made our unity more fragile, our government more unstable, and our country more unsafe. We must renegotiate our union in order to make it stronger. Unquote. Now, agitations by some, if not many Nigerians, have been for the restructuring and renewal of our federation to make it less centralized, less suffocating, and less dictatorial in the affairs of our country's constituent units and localities. Atiku Abubakar has, for a long time, advocated the need to restructure our federation. Our current structure and the practices it has encouraged, according to him, have been a major impediment to the economic and political development of our country. This remark was made at the public presentation of the book We Are All Biafrans by Chido Onuma at the Yaradua Center, Abuja on May 31, 2016. That's from Atiku Abubakar. Now, Second Republic politician Chief Guy Ikoku and founder of the Igbo Youth Movement, IYM, evangelist Elliot Uko, have justified the ever-increasing clamor for the restructuring of the country, saying it is the only measure that can save Nigeria from looming disintegration. Implementing the 2014 National Conference recommendations will enable each of the 6 zones of the country to tackle unemployment, insecurity, poor power supply, and infrastructure. It will also engender healthy competition among the zones, which help Nigeria to achieve 12% growth rate. On this forum, Clearview, our research reveals that the loudest zone in the clamor for restructuring is probably Southwest, where Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo comes from. The gentleman is saying that the call for the restructuring was not sensible rather, as it will make any difference in the country. But in a swift reaction, Pan-Yoruba socio-political organization Afenifere carpeted the Vice President for this criticism of the calls for the restructuring of Nigeria, saying Osinbajo missed the point. According to the group, the VP may have been under pressure from the presidency to support upholders of the status quo. We'll go on a break now, and when we come back, I will emerge with my guests. This is Clearview, and the view we are clearing this day is that of restructuring, closely related to the issue of unity of our country. My guest is a political analyst, a lawyer, and former national chairman of the Labour Party, Dan Nwayam. Welcome, Dan, to Clearview.
Thank you very much.
We'll talk about restructuring. What is it all about?
Well, restructuring is seen by different people to mean different things, but I will simplify it. When we say restructuring, we are talking about political restructuring of the country, which will encompass both economic and social restructuring. We are talking of moving from what we have now to a position that will be better for all Nigerians. We are talking about devolution of power from the center to the states and other components of the government. By so doing, you look at the exclusive legislative lists in the Constitution, strike out some of those things that federal government has no business dealing with them.
Like?
For example, federal government has no business to decide whether primary school people will eat in the afternoon or not. Leave federal government with fiscal policies, monetary policies, defense, internal affairs, and all that. Then let's move all those other things to the concurrent list, so that every region, geopolitical zone or states will develop according to its own pace. They will explore and they exploit their comparative advantages to the betterment of the region and the nation. To generate employment, there will be economic and social engineering, and look at the security situation. The police, it has come to a point now that we cannot police the country based on the structure we have. It has collapsed. And this issue was appropriately addressed in the conference. I laugh at people when they say, conference reports, no, to the dustbin. They are taking things from there. Look at the construction of the Northeast. We were about 6 of us who sat in the conference privately and brought it out. Yinko Dumaki, myself, Pastor Tunde Bakari, and few others. We said, look, we have to reconstruct this area. That was what brought about that 5% of derivation that was supposed to put there. But it was truncated because some of our brothers felt it should not only be left for the states that will fall into such devastation, but it must be made for the 3 regions in the north. We said no, that was not the intent. We are not from the northeast, but it was the child of our brain. The government is working on it. It is from the conference. There are so many things they have touched in the conference. Yes, they don't want to talk about the report. So the structuring is not division. The structuring is not balkanizing Nigeria. Restructuring is to have that political system that will allow different components of Nigeria to develop according to their own pace. And we have witnessed it before. When there was heavy competition, when the Southwest brought the first television to Obafemi Awolowo, other regions said, they have done it, we have to follow them before our people will start fighting us. In 1982, I traveled to a place right inside the Ijebu land. Some of my trade union leaders took me to their villages. I saw pipe-borne water. They told me it was there since in the 50s by Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Many people will look at it and go and put it. But here you have a very big center, a big cow that belongs to nobody. And that is why we have so many thieves, so many armed robbers today in public office. They steal with impunity. They steal to the point that they don't know what to do with the money, so they have to go and bury it in the ground. When they have people that are unemployed, when they have people that have no means of livelihood, if we have restructuring, people will not go and carry a pot of amala that is on the fire to go and eat with palm oil. We want to restructure the politics. We want to restructure the political system in Nigeria, whereby everybody in Nigeria will still be there. It is not treason. We must, if we don't restructure, we are not going anywhere. The federal government has no reason to tell Lagos State that they should have 18 local governments when they are supposed to have more than that. I live in Lagos. My area in Lagos, we are entitled to 1 local government. Even what Ashwaju did that time is not enough. So if in a restructured political system, if Lagos want to have 100 local governments, so be it, go and create it, fund it. You can't come to Abuja to collect money to fund it. If Kano wants 150, go and create it and fund it. You will now see that some of these local governments created under this system will disappear because most of them were created based on friendship, based on political experience, based on one thing or the other than that they can run by themselves. It's because there is a cow in Abuja that everybody must milk from.
Now we'll continue with restructuring, but you made mention of something now, and it will be a useful digression. I heard you on the radio station this morning,
yes,
defending EFCC, defending the war against corruption.
Yes.
Is it not selective?
It's selective. You had me. No, you had me. Maybe you didn't hear that part. You journalists, you know how you do your things. I support the fight against corruption by President Muhammad Buhari, but it must not be selective. There are people in his government, including ministers, President Muhammad Buhari must investigate so that it will be complete.
Okay.
It must be complete. Any Nigerian opposed to this fight against corruption that will not be selective is not a true Nigerian. It must not be selective. It must cross across everybody. It's a question of I'm still in here. When you pursue me, I run into the enclave, I'll become a saint. So I'm supporting the fight against corruption. There are too many thieves who were in public office, and they're still there. So President Buhari, that is the only thing this government has now. And that's why this is an advice to the president. And you must listen to me carefully. The only thing you have today as President, Commander-in-Chief of Nigerian Armed Forces is this fight against corruption, nothing more. So if you boggle it, that's your headache. So the best thing for President is to strengthen it. Look around their cupboards, look around their place. Pick them up, put them on trial. You will go up there. People like us will be singing your song. There are some of them there, you can't hide them for long. If you hide them during your tenure, when you leave, the next government will bring them back. By that time, all that you have done will come to naught. So better do it yourself.
Good.
And that is the only thing you have today in Nigeria. There is nothing again in this country today that you can ascribe to this government other than what Magu, right?
Magu, yes.
What Magu is doing in FCC. In fact, it was rumored they were going to remove him. That was part of a statement I issued on the 3rd or 4th, calling on President Buhari to send his name for confirmation. At least he has the courage. At least he's doing it. Let nobody touch Magu, even after President Buhari, until we have another. But he will not be selected. Don't take instructions. There are people in government of President Buhari that should face the same investigation and the same trial. And we know them. They know them. So the press, you journalists, they have removed that portion and took what they liked, because they have to, so that they say, Adamanya, has he changed? Has he been bought over? Is supporting this? No, there was a caveat. It was not be selective, and you have to pick those that are also in your government.
Yeah.
So President Buhari, that is all you have today in Nigeria. Fight against corruption without more.
Yeah. I know Magu will be listening to, and each will want to write his name in the Psalm of
Yes, very well.
So let's hope it continues well. Now, why is it that people who are clamoring for this restructuring are so hell-bent that without restructuring, there will never be economic diversification and growth?
That is correct. You see, you cannot diversify when people in Kogi cannot explore their resources. When people in Enugu cannot use coal to give electricity in that region or even beyond. You must unbundle the present structure. You must get those things out of the exclusive legislative lists. Government has no business getting involved in them. Restructuring is sine qua non to diversification. If you don't restructure, you can't diversify. Is it this agriculture we are talking about every day? Agriculture, how do you diversify? Okay, we are going to farm. I have a farm. But I don't bury money in my own farm. I have a farm. Many people are not farming. Yes. Tomato, pepper, and all those things. Is it the diversification you're talking about? What about technology? What about science and technology? The world today is governed by science and technology. We are nowhere there. Unbundle the system. Let more powers be devolved to the states. That means they're going to have more resources because they will have more responsibilities. They have a smaller part. Everybody will know everybody. So it is not easy for you to achieve that growth and development under the present structure we have. That is why people are talking about restructuring. Restructuring doesn't mean to your tents, O Israel. All we are saying is, Odion, do your own, I do my own. We can partner. So that federal government has no business to make everybody at every university to admit from JAMB against their own standards. I have been a pro-chancellor of a university, Adekunle Ajasin University. For the period I was there, I made sure that those that were admitted were those who were ready to study. Today, Adekunle Ajasin University has become a 21st century university properly called. Those students are students who are ready to study. You won't hear pen there. They go there, they read, they make their marks. When they go in competition, they come first, second, third. There was nothing like writing letter for admission. We never did it. So if in a department, you had a cutoff up to 40, and they are admitting from, say, 230, You see 229, 228, 227. Maybe by the time you get to 225, you have reached your quota. You will never see 224, 223 in that admission list.
Let's look at it this way. Are you sure those clamoring for, those who are not in support of restructuring are not thinking that this one indivisible nation can be disunited?
No. And even in that, you see, I have read a lot of things. They say Nigeria unity is not negotiable. Well, I want a Nigeria that's free and fair to all people. I don't want a Nigeria that the leader sees himself not beyond his clan and enclave. I want a Nigeria where there be equal opportunities and social justice. I want a Nigeria that you can partner with other components of the society, of the country. But to say that you cannot discuss, I recall in the national conference, when we were discussing, when we were responding to President Jonathan's inaugural speech, I cautioned the conference during my own period, 3 minutes, that we had opportunity, golden opportunity to make history. If we don't, our children will not be as patient as we are. They will not take all these things we are doing here. And we're getting there. Nobody is talking about, creating a situation where there won't be Nigeria. But let Nigerians come and sit down and discuss. If you ask Nigerians on the streets, tell me in honesty, do you want to pull out of Nigeria? They will tell you, sir, no, bets. Go out from today, go and ask. All of them will put bets. It is that pot, that BUT, that we must discuss. If we don't discuss it, this country will gradually slip off our hands. Because the time everybody is talking about it, there was no meeting. They have not held any meeting. But everybody is seeing it, that the current structure is not fair to Nigerians. It will not bring development. If we are at a place, we are not moving. I recall in 1985, I was in the United States. That was the time America sent something to the space. He couldn't go. They recalled one Nigerian who was on vacation, who was working in American Space Center. I recall he was in his jeans and his white t-shirt. I gave this story also in the conference. He came in while people, they were following him all over the place until he entered one cubicle. Nobody followed him there. He came out. By the time he came out, that white t-shirt was just orange liquid all over him. He pushed the thing went. He didn't come back. I was in downtown doing some purchases. I was wearing Nigerian agbada, this house agbada with my cap. Hello, how are you? Where are you from? I said, of course, Nigeria. Can we say that today? I was proudly Nigerian at that moment. I'm proudly Nigerian. Nigeria, we should have gone beyond that point. But we are being drawn back by persons, according to Dr. Junai Mohammed, he said they are non-entities. You cannot take your third 11 to a football match when you have the best 11 and you expect to win that match.
How do we get the best 11?
They're all over the place. They're all over the place.
Not known to presidency?
The president knows, but it depends on what he's thinking and what he wants to achieve. Look at, for example, the economic policy of the government. One day I was on the program. I said, one, where is Patotomi? We know our best. Where is Rewani? Bring Kalo Kalo. Where is Soludo? You must key in Dr. Konji-Iweala. Don't give her a job, but let her buy into the project. Why? Dr. Konji-Iweala, whether you like it or not, whether you like her face or not, knows the door to knock at. And every door she knocks opens. We have finished politics. We are talking about moving the country forward. So you cannot continue with neither our thoughts, our thinking, and we're not thinking about developing the system. We are in a hurry. The younger people are in a hurry to move this country forward. So if you can't move it forward, step aside. We know our best. If you go to engineering, Nigerians can mention names. If you go to want chemical engineers, they will tell you where they are.
Don't forget the president took 8 months to gather the technocrats.
Because everybody has his style. And from what is happening now, I'm sure you know why the president took 8 months. It's, if what he came out with is what we are seeing now for 8 months, then he didn't wait to look for virgins in the maternity ward. He knew why he waited.
All right, our time is not our friend, I thought, because we are winding up now. But before we allow Dan leave, we want to know from you. You are an active chairman of the Labour Party, and we have been waiting to hear from you what your next line of action is. You are not in PDP, you are not in APC, you are not in Labour Party, you are not in NABGA, and you are a politician, I believe. So what is happening?
You see, you don't have to belong to a political party to expound your political views and beliefs. I left my party February last year, and I've not joined any, and I've never joined any other one before. I'm watching. Look at what you're seeing. Is it APC that made promises that they will move Olumorok to Mapo Hall? They have not even gotten to Olumorok, not to talk of attempting to move it to Mapo Hall. PDP, they cannot put their ass together. We hope they will put their ass together.
Yes.
So, if both of them, by the end of this year, they have not shifted, Nigerians will come together and choose any of the other political parties that will deliver them in 2019. I am telling you, Nigerians are fed up. The president, I don't know whether he's getting the signals. If you go for another election today, I can tell you, President Buhari will not make 40% of the votes he scored the last time. And the truth is that people around him are not speaking truth to power. President Buhari is somebody, I know him one-on-one. I met him in 2010 when I wanted him to be the presidential candidate of Labour Party. On the second occasion, I took my national secretary, who is now the national chairman, to his house in Kaduna. So I know him. Tell you, look at him into the eyes and tell you what it is. He will not shoot you. The truth is that psychophancy, just like what you said, what you read in your prologue about what the vice president said.
Yeah.
I won't attack vice president. I love him so much, but you see, coming from the southwest, with his background, and with what he has, the views he has held over the years, and more importantly, his association with Obafemi Awolowo's family. I can only say I sympathize with that comment. But I will also advise, next time, if he's faced with such situation, silence will be golden. Because very soon, he will get back home and they will ask him, Kekwano.
All right, we really want to thank you, Chairman, for coming onto this program, at least to clear the view on restructuring, unity, and other issues of national relevance. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
That will be all this week with my guest, Dan Nwaya, with former Chairman, Labour Party, a lawyer, and of course, a political commentator. Don't forget, you qualify to be a voice in the affairs of Nigeria. No one is more senior in Nigeria than the other. I am John Bello. Bye for now.